can go right ahead and we can talk about the Lakers and their search for the new head coach. Now, there, um, now there are reports saying that, surprise, JJ Redick now has inside track to be the Lakers coach in the next few weeks or in the next few months, however long it takes for him to sign. But he is supposed to be the favorite going into the off season. The Lakers have pinpointed a new favorite according to this article, in their head coaching search, and according to Woj, the JJ Redick will formally interview with the Lakers this weekend in Los Angeles. So, I mean, he's an option for the Lakers to being the new coach. Woj added that with a strong performance in the interview, Redick is expected to be the forefront of the team's quest for a new leader after Dan Hurley turned down the Lakers' $70 million offer to remain at UConn. So, the Lakers general manager, Rob Pelinka, owner Jeannie Buss, and other senior decision makers reportedly are expected to partake in a day-long interview. So, it seems like JJ Redick is going to be the favorite after all. And it's a little bit weird because this is like the Lakers offseason. Like, this is what they do every single offseason. It's like they have these high expectations, or they have these expectations that they hype up. Then they get better expectations and then they trash the old expectations. And then when they don't get the better expectations, they hype up the old expectations again. So it's like, it's a really weird back and forth that these coaching scenarios and this Lakers drama has been folding or unfolding in front of us. Because it's like, at first it was JJ, then it was Dan Hurley, then Dan Hurley said no, then it was James Borrego, and now it's JJ Redick. So it's like, it's really difficult to keep track. It's almost as difficult as like the Cavs scenario. Well, it seems like, again, James Borrego is a favorite for the Cavs, but we'll talk about the Cavs a little bit later because it seems like, they do want to run it back. But, stay tuned if you want to hear about that segment. That's going to be the fourth segment. But aside from that, JJ Redick, I mean, him being the coach for the Lakers, or if he were to be the coach for the Lakers, I'm not entirely sure how that would work out. The reason why a lot of people like Dan Hurley is because of his experience as a coach, and JJ Redick doesn't really have that much experience. So it's like, it would be really difficult to like really rely on someone who has zero experience as a head coach, more so than it would to rely on someone who has pretty good experience as a head coach. Winning back-to-back NCAA championships is no joke. But, I mean, he's obviously he's going to try to three-peat. I'm assuming that's obviously what he's going to be trying to do, because it's like, why wouldn't you try and do that? And if that does happen, then he would be cemented in history, which is definitely a better way to go out than being a coach for the Lakers. But aside from that, JJ Redick as the coach, I'm not entirely sure. Like, it's really the fact that he doesn't have that experience, because again, you don't just get coaching experience like that, especially when you're the coach of LeBron. I mean, we've seen Steve Nash, and he was a great player. Like, he was arguably he was a better player than JJ Redick in the NBA, and he was fired almost immediately, and everyone like thought he was good. Like, all of the Nets fans, they said, oh yeah, he would be great. But then after the first few seasons with him, they just decided, okay, he's really bad. So the fact that Steve Nash is a better player than JJ Redick, I mean, obviously there's no telling. I mean, maybe JJ Redick would be a better coach than he is a player, as opposed to Steve Nash being a better player than he is a coach, obviously. But there's no telling exactly like how good your coaching skills are going to be, no matter how good your NBA career was, or how how bad your NBA career was. But Steve Nash, I mean, he was a very great player, and was the main coordinator of one of the fastest offenses in NBA history under Mike D'Antoni, the 7 seconds or less. And they were just, they were one of the best offenses in the NBA at the time, and he was the commander of that offense. He won 2 MVPs, and obviously, winning 2 MVPs, you have to have a really good basketball mind, and you have to have a really good set of skills to be able to get those kind of accolades. Now, despite getting all those accolades, it didn't really translate into his coaching career, despite the fact that he had Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden. Mainly Kevin Durant and Kyrie. Now, I'm not going to say that Kyrie was helping scenarios and helping the team with his decision. I'm not going to really get into that. But not to mention James Harden getting traded, or deciding to get traded, and then the rest of the team deciding to get traded. But aside from that, he had a great team, and it still ended up failing. Now, one could argue that it was the injuries, but despite the fact that he had Kyrie and Kevin Durant, I thought he did a really bad job in coaching in the NBA playoffs when they went up against the Celtics. When they had just Kyrie and Kevin Durant. Now, they played really good against them in the first time when they had James Harden. Like, they had a historic first round, and they scored so many points together, and it was just ridiculous how many points they were scoring, and they put up ridiculous numbers offensively. And despite that, I mean, that first series, it seemed like that would be the norm. But then in the next round, the next year, when they played the Celtics again, they ended up losing. And they ended up getting swept. So it was not a really good coaching job from Steve Nash, because he sort of let Kevin Durant and Kyrie shoot them out the game. And he didn't really call timeouts when they needed to. And again, so I don't really feel confident with JJ Redick being the coach. Not as confident as I would if it was Dan Hurley, because, Dan Hurley, he was going to be the favorite. He should have been the favorite. And I really, the Lakers, they really messed up with this. They should have made him the most paid coach in the NBA. Like, if they really wanted to get him in the NBA, if they really wanted to get him with that coaching position, they absolutely needed to make him the most paid coach in the NBA in order to twist his hand, because that's the best offer that you're going to get in the NBA. And that's maybe they didn't have the money for it, but I feel like making him only the 6th most paid is a little bit underwhelming. But that's just me. So with that, we are out of time for this second segment. So now I will go ahead and go into the third segment, where I will talk about the Celtics and their game plan to beating the Dallas Mavericks in this series. So I will be right back after this short break. Be sure to stay tuned.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.